My auntie initiated me in witchcraft. It was the day all my family went to the funeral, but for some reason my aunt refused to go, because she was assigned to initiate me in the dark art of witchcraft. She gave me chicken to eat, but it was actually human meat, turned to a chicken meat. In the night when I slept she came to awaken my spirit. She said, "Come with me for we have to go." I followed her to the world of witches. Upon arrival the Queen of Witches received us. Everybody knelt before me including the Queen, who said, "Now vengeance has begun. The time of vengeance has come. You are initiated in order to exercise vengeance." I asked the Queen, "What vengeance are you talking about?" She replied, "Wait, you will know." Then she led me to visit the kingdom and castles of the spiritual world that in the submarine, and it was a beautiful. She told me, "All this must remain secret. You cannot tell the people of the world, for it's between you and us. You will have all the glory, wealth and mansion of this world if you agreed to work for us. Remember what is written." The devil led him up to a high place and showed him in an instant all the kingdoms of the world. "I will give you authority over all these kingdoms and all their glory," he said. "For it has been relinquished to me, and I can give it to anyone I wish. So if you worship me, it will all be yours." I accepted the offer of the Queen to obtain the wealth of the marine world, and I was sent to many operations of destruction and the manipulation, in a specific mission against the saint. When I launched the attack I saw that I was unable to harm them. I launched attack in 3 occasions but I had failed. Since I was a failure, the punishment was that I was commanded to sacrifice an innocent soul in the street to the devil, or to sacrifice anything that belonged to me. In the end I sacrificed my leg. When my legs were sacrificed to the Queen, as a result of this sacrifice I could no longer walk properly and my step changed because my leg was sacrificed. These days people have issues with the members and organ of their bodies and they don't know that their members and organ were sacrificed and imprisoned in cages and prisons of the enemy. When a part of your body has been sacrificed or stolen in witchcraft sacrifice, it won't work properly. People have chronic sickness because members of their bodies have been sacrificed. In fact my feet that I had sacrificed had become the stick of the Queen of the Water. I received more power to carry out operation of enchantment. I discover that the Queen is in search of vengeance because she has suffered defeat and humiliation in the hand of my sister the born-again believer. She sought vengeance because of the defeat, for her pride was turned to shame. When the Operation Vengeance began, I joined the battle against my sister the evangelical believer, and I was locked in merciless battle against her. Whenever she was about to do an exam I would cause conflict, contention and irritation. This is in order to have legality and block qualification. However, the moment she knelt down to pray there was reaction in the Marine Kingdom in the royal court. Since she was strong, my mission was to terminate and kill her prayer life. I received ammunition that was supposed to stop her from praying. The Queen of Witches handed me evil arrows and dart. These were arrows and dart of heaviness, of sleep and distraction. First I had to measure her strength and test the enemy power. As far as I was concerned Jesus was only talk and there is no power. Whenever I hear Christian talk about God I say that Jesus does not exist. I have another God who is more powerful. Whenever I was warned by these evangelists that I would go to hell if I continue with the practice of witchcraft, I told these Christian I prefer to go to hell. I am fine with that. I had to act against my sister. When your brother or sister become a witch, he will no longer consider you his brother. He will look at you as brother only when you become a witch. Otherwise he will look at you as cattle, liable to human sacrifice. And since I look at my sister as the enemy I was determined to destroy her, and I shot her with arrows and darts of death. These arrows traveled towards my sister and were about to reach her but they stopped midway and turned around to my direction and were coming back towards. The arrows I shot my sister came back and hit me. As a result I felt terribly sick. I could not rise and walk for many days. My evangelical sister was taking care of me while I was sick. She did not know that this sickness was meant for her. When the Queen saw what was happening to me, she came to the surface. In order to confront her, she opened the door but when she stepped on the ground in our compound she was burned by the fire of God, and she rushed out of the house. Since the devil's servant don't give up, I rose up and shot my sister with arrows of sleep to stop her prayer life that was bothering us. but the arrow traveled and stopped midway and was sent back against me. When I was reached by the arrow, I fell to the ground paralyzed. The queen that stood out of the house ran away, abandoning me on the ground. It took a long time for me to rise up. Since I was hit by the arrow of death, I was sick in the body and in the spirit. I was deeply in witchcraft, where the wizards eat human flesh and drink human blood. I had hard heart and was angry to see Christian denouncing witchcraft activity in broad daylight, and when I was caught and exposed I kept denying that I was witch. I even swore that I was not witch and cried with tears of crocodile. Lies is one of the characteristic of witches, for they won't tell the truth. At some point I was appointed to paralyze a girl, a born-again young lady. When it was night I wanted to leave my body in order to travel to the young girl place. At that moment, when I was about to leave the body for astral journey, the angel of the Lord appeared and prevented me from leaving my body. He stopped me from attacking the girl. Since the angel returned me inside my body by force, I ended up being on my bed. Every time I tried to leave my body in order to travel to the place of the young lady, his angel defender landed right there around my bed to stop me from leaving my body. As a result, I was peeing on my bed. Nevertheless, the Operation Vengeance continued. The queen summoned me beneath the water and gave me more power to transform to Python, and I became the Serpent Guardian, assigned to guard a castle under the sea, where was kept people's souls, people's stars, destinies, chances and blessing that was stolen and confiscated. They are people getting on with life, but they were attached in captivity in the prison beneath water in this castle. People that are in institution, their mind were bound and held captive in this castle underwater, guarded by the Python that I was able to extend my hand to another city far from my place to capture destinies, stars and wealth. My hair were fiery and burning during the gathering of mermaids and goddess of water, for my power was in my hair and the color of my hair represented my authority. I was vengeance. When I sacrifice a man in the village, I receive 2 mantle. The first was the armor of war and the second was royal mantle. Vengeance against my sister continue. I went against my sister the believer and I was about to stab her with the arrow. A mysterious force intervened like a hurricane and pushed me backward to the wall. I was determined. I stood up and wanted to try again to stab her. At that moment a figure of light appeared and stood before me, and his posture was of defiance as he was telling me try again. He was threatening, and I left and joined the Queen of Witches. She was angry and said to me, "Don't worry and let wait, for in 2 days vengeance will strike her." I asked the Queen why vengeance. She said this vengeance is between you and your relative and me. But since you failed to destroy your sister, you must bring a soul from the street. I went to the street and capture an innocent lady in the street, and the Queen told me, "I want to see you decapitate her head." I complied and decapitated the innocent lady. A life without Christ is insecure in this dark world. When the lady died, the Queen grabbed her heart and we share it. The thief come but to steal, kill and destroy. I was made fearless by the Queen. When you open the door of your house, I will enter. As a result, your dwelling place will become the marine territory and everything will be compromised. I would dwell in your place in the shape of a python. I was wicked and I was stealing babies in the womb of mothers, for in the kingdom that is underwater babies were turned to chicken and consumed by marine demons. Mother will have to protect the babies with prayers, for the devil is wicked, he is liar. In the world that is beneath the sea, adult victim of witchcraft were turned to cow and cattle. They were decapitated and their flesh were consumed. Babies were turned to chicken. I was made wicked and supposed to bring misery, woes and wickedness on earth in the life of men and women. Whenever I caused pain and sadness, there was applause and cheers in the marine kingdom. Every time I was successful in a missions, I was received on a red carpet and marine spirit bow before me. The Queen began to mistrust me because my power was growing. She feared I would sit on her throne, and she was now looking for an occasion to send away to another kingdom. In terms of Operation Vengeance, a witch was sent to destroy my born-again sister. She was about to hit her with ammunition, but she fell to the ground, as if she was hit by the angel defender. The Queen joined her and took her. She told me to take her place, but I refused, for I was not happy. We had a plane in the world of witches, and this plane was a woman innocent, that we had turned to a plane and a means of transport. planes of witches fly low and are not supposed to touch things created by God like trees, otherwise it will be destroyed. However, this plane can pass through whatever building and the men construction and houses. My aunt was the pilot and this plane was more advanced and more modern than modern planes we have on Earth. On that day we enter the plane and we travel to the meeting and festivity of witches where they drink blood and eat human flesh. After the party of witches, I turn to a vampire and travel the city in the night to suck blood of victims. I attack an innocent man when I sat on them and began to suck their blood like a vampire. Whenever I sucked 2 liters of blood, my queen congratulated me and awarded me with a mansion. I had many mansions in the kingdom of darkness underwater. In fact, in this mysterious world I was married and had 7 children in the spiritual world. As a vampire, my mission was to travel all over the city in the night to suck blood from the innocent that are not covered by God protection. I remember one night after becoming a vampire and sucking blood of innocents, I came back home and found my born-again sister praying fervently. As a result of her prayer I lost control and the pot of blood I was carrying was overturned and fell to the ground. I lost the blood. Her prayer was a disturbance, stopping my incantation. When I managed to contact the queen, I informed her about the situation. She joined me and we began to do magic prayer to cause my sister to sleep. We shot her with arrows of sleep and heaviness, but she was out of reach. She was a stumbling block because she prayed fervently when the witches become operational from midnight to free, and disturb satanic operation. Still the queen made a vow to fight and overcome my sister. I was sent by the queen to a particular church to fight the pastor and bring down the church. I came and crossed the wall of the church. Sometime I enter through the ceiling, and it was during the service that I left my body and stood above the roof and began to speak words of mockery and disdain against the church. In fact, I managed to control the pastor mind and cause him to say things that I wanted. During my mission in this church, one of the leader complained that I was not falling into manifestation like other during prayer. They began to push me so that I will fall. In the end I began to fall to please them. When I stood up, the pastor began to tell me the Lord said this and that for your life, not knowing that I am the one putting these words in his mouth. When you lack intimacy and a life of consecration, the spirit of divination may use you. The leader asked me to do confession, but I lied and he did not know that I was lying because he did not have the Holy Spirit. Whenever I visit a church, I was able to determine whether there was power of God in the life of the leader or not. I was able to see that the pastor is not filled with the Holy Spirit and I could see the intensity of his light. When these pastors pray for me, I left my body and I shoot them with arrows and even summon their spirit. In this church, ladies wore the so-called ladies' pants and they don't cover their head. They wore earring. The following day I transformed myself to the pastor's wife and I took the shape of his wife and slept with him. The next day when I went to the church, the pastor was telling me yesterday prayer was powerful and the Lord visited me. I said in my heart, you are just talking because you don't know that I am the one who is responsible of this manipulation disguised as divine encounter that you had. In this operation I slept with these powerless pastors that were praying for me because there was power of seduction in my eyes. I ended up sleeping with them. Seduction is the greatest power the devil had deployed to bring down men of God. Even in school I slept with teachers for grade. Witchcraft equals sexual perversion. In school I seduced teacher and sucked their blood for our reinforcement. Yet the teacher was a believer, but had 2 life. In the class I was not clever because I had sacrificed my intelligence. Therefore I was using the intelligence of smart children and I had high grade, because I was stealing children intelligence. If you don't pray for your child, intelligence may be stolen. I had a friend that I love so much in school. Whenever I buy food I share with her. But I did not want to initiate her in witchcraft even if the queen was insisting. And I was categorical. I knew that witchcraft was not a good thing, even if I was deeply in it. In fact, I was bound in it. My born-again relative have been going to church since 2015 and it is in this church that she was told I and grandmother was a witch. I have been trying one way or another to bewitch her, but all my attempts were failure. I called all kind of reinforcement against her, but we still failed to inflict her damage. Despite these coordinated effort, time have passed and the queen sent me again to assault my born-again relative. We must understand that in this conflict the enemies such as witches and wizards don't get discouraged. They are patient, determined and relentless, waiting for the believer to lower the guard and open a door in order to strike. In these systematic attack against my born-again relative I was brutalized by the angel defender many times, but I never get discouraged, and far from me the idea of giving up and declaring defeat. There was no rest even when I was sleeping in the body. I was working and perpetrating witchcraft attack, and I went to these mission of destruction every day. When my witchcraft was exposed, the evangelical began to come home to pray for my deliverance. I did not mind because when they began to pray for me I was leaving my body and doing incantation and magic prayer right beside them. But whenever I left my body my born-again relative knew that I was not in my body and that I was playing. For whenever I came back in the body he was telling me, "You had left the body when we were praying for you. Where did you go?" I was denying because lying is the nature of witches, for they don't tell the truth. We did not sleep, for when we slept we left the body for astral journey where we were executing mission. In school teachers that shouted me and punish me I came in the night to torment them. I was about to fail the class when I control the teacher and seduce him so that she will change my grade. I initiated many children through handshake salutation. My teacher was wicked towards me and I went in the night to suck his blood, and I took by force the intelligence of the pupil. Pray for your kids. I transmitted the spirit of witchcraft through shoes. I bewitched the food sold in the street. My sister was now monitoring me. She asked, "What is the mission you are executing now?" I said, "We are now going after your son." I was telling the truth even if I lie a lot. In most cases witches don't admit their witchcraft even if you beat them. They have tortoise shell and they feel nothing when you beat. They may cry but it is the tears of crocodile. At home I wash the dish with my feet. I was washing the dish with my feet and my friend a witch joined me. As we were washing the dish with the feet I felt a powerful wind that pushed me backward and I felt my friend ran away, never came back to my place. I was going to school walking upside down, when they send me to get something. Instead of going there I would extend my hand to get what I wanted, but one day I was coming against my born-again sister and her angel guardian. The defender smacked me and I fell sick in the body and the spirit. I could not go to the world of witches anymore. I asked my sister to show me her so that I would watch the testimonies of the army of prayer and deliverance. I watched the report of Sister Marie Rachel that was a witch of Ivory Coast. I told myself if she has abandoned I can also abandon. Came to church to get free because I was tired, yet it was the day I was supposed to be enthroned in the world of witches. At the gate of the church I saw giant angels. They told me, "If you have come for your liberation you will be fine, but if you came to try something against the saints you will see what you never saw before." I enter the church and join the prayer. At some point I laid down. I told myself, let me try to leave my body. It was not easy, but in the end I left my body and began to walk in the corridor of the church while the prayer was going on. That's when I met a golden figure at the end of the corridor, an angel of the Lord. I moved back towards my body. That's when I saw another angel of light. He told me, "You have two choice, either you stay in the body and you live or you leave the body and you die." I told myself I just wanted to test and see if you meant what you said. When I was entering the church, that's when I returned inside the body to avoid death. These were robust and corpulent warrior angels. On that day I slept for the first time like a child and woke in the morning refreshed. I said I never slept like this before. I slept like a baby. When fasting began it was not easy, for demons were communicating with me and persecuting me, telling me to break the fast, but I persevere. Every time I wanted to drink water I remember Rachel that was liberated and I wanted to free.